Breaking news! Something big is brewing in Denver, and I've got insider info that you won't want to miss. Behind the scenes, major moves are happening that could reshape the final roster before week 1 kicks off. Players once seen as long shots are suddenly rising, veterans are on the edge, and Sean Payton, he's pulling the strings with surgical precision. We're not just trimming the roster, we're playing chess while the rest of the league plays checkers. And trust me, there's one position group in particular where the Broncos are about to shock everyone. But before I drop the full scoop, make sure to hit that like button. If you've been riding with the Broncos since the Elway days, this one's for you. Comment below, go Broncos! My heart bleeds orange and blue. Let's get into what's really going down. Now, let's dive into it. This roster is deep. Sean Payton has said it repeatedly, and it's not just coach talk. He believes this is the deepest team he's had since coming to Denver, and that's significant. We're talking about a team that was in playoff contention even while navigating the roller coaster that was Russell Wilson. And now, we're at the point where some of the most talented players are not just fighting for roster spots, they're becoming trade chips because we simply can't keep everyone. Just take a look at the running back situation. Remember when we were all worried about Bo Nix not having enough help in the backfield? Not anymore. With J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey, and Jaleel McLaughlin showing out in camp, the Broncos are now so stacked at the position that someone like Audric Estime, who was heavily hyped coming out of Notre Dame, might be on the outside looking in. Estime has had moments, no doubt, but with the current depth and the strong performances from others, he's a prime candidate for a trade. And here's the kicker. Teams like the Saints, Browns, and even the Chiefs are reportedly sniffing around for running back help. The irony is delicious. Last year we were starved for talent, and now we're the team that others are calling to fix their problems. Let's not forget what Payton did with Albert Okwuegbunam last year. Showcased him in a preseason game, made him look like a featured piece of the offense, and flipped him to the Eagles. Don't be surprised if the same playbook gets used with Estime. If he has a breakout performance this week, it might be less about making the Broncos roster and more about boosting his trade value. And if Denver can pull a 5th or 6th round pick for him, that's gold. Then there's the wide receiver room. It's another area where the Broncos have done a complete 180. We went from needing weapons for Bo Nix to having an embarrassment of riches. Trading Vele wasn't about his lack of talent. It was a vote of confidence in Franklin, Mims, Bryant, and even Courtland Sutton. And get this, several teams were calling about Vele. That's right, the league sees what Denver has built. And the return on that Vele trade? Better than what the Cowboys got for DK Metcalf. Better than what the Niners got for Sky Moore. And yes, better than what we got for Jerry Jeudy. That speaks volumes about how other teams perceive our young talent. On the practice front, there were some tense moments with the absences of Jaquan McMillian and Jaleel McLaughlin. But crisis averted, Jaquan's dealing with a minor soft tissue injury and should play this weekend. And Jaleel, he just became a girl dad. Congratulations to him and his family. And based on how Sean Payton talked about Jaleel, he's not going anywhere. He's a lock for this roster. Payton gushed about his work ethic and how he's one of the first to arrive at practice every day. That's not the kind of praise you give a guy you're planning to cut or trade. There's even more to like about what's going on behind the scenes. Payton's attention to detail is next level. Ahead of the meaningless preseason finale against the Saints, he moved practice indoors to simulate the dome conditions in New Orleans. That's championship mentality. That's why Payton is who he is, someone who won a Super Bowl and brought New Orleans back from the football graveyard. Now, he's trying to do the same here in Denver. And how about this for a storyline? There was a little play calling drama brewing, with Davis Webb calling a stellar game last week. But when asked who's calling plays this time, Payton didn't hesitate. I'm taking back over. That's right, Captain's back at the helm, and you better believe he wants to show out against his former team. Even better news? No major injuries, no real drama. Nick Bonitto practiced all week after recovering from foot surgery, putting to rest those rumors of a hold-in. And when the league announced it would crack down on unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, you could hear a collective cheer from Broncos fans. Because a Sean Payton team? That's a disciplined team. No bench-clearing brawls like we saw elsewhere. Just focused, detail-oriented football. Let's keep rolling because the heat around this Broncos roster isn't cooling down anytime soon. As we close in on final roster cuts, this is where things get real. Every rep, every snap in this last preseason game could determine the future of several players, and not just in Denver. We're talking about careers here. Let's zero in on the players riding that roster bubble and the ripple effects their futures could have across the league. Starting with the running backs, this is where the drama truly begins. Sean Payton has always been a coach who values versatility in his backfield. J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey are clearly locked in, and Jaleel McLaughlin, after being praised publicly by Payton and earning the kind of trust you don't hand out lightly, is as safe as it gets. That leaves Audric Estime, Tyler Batty, and Blake Watson battling for, at best, one roster spot and possibly a spot on the practice squad. And let's not pretend this is just a typical camp battle. This is strategy. Audric Estime's Notre Dame pedigree and early buzz make him an attractive trade target. If he goes off in this final game, he might be playing himself right onto another team's 53-man roster. Don't be shocked if the Saints, Browns, or even the Chiefs pull the trigger on a deal by Monday morning. Meanwhile, someone like Tyler Batty, who quietly performed well when given the chance last year, might slide onto the roster because of his reliability and special teams upside. But what happens to Blake Watson? He's shown flashes, and the Broncos would love to stash him on the practice squad, but will he clear waivers? That's a major risk. This is where the front office earns their money, navigating roster politics while trying to sneak valuable talent onto the practice squad without tipping their hand to the rest of the league. Then you've got the wide receivers. Last season, we kept 6. This year, early projections suggest we might only keep 5. Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Troy Franklin, Pat Bryant, and Trent Sherfield. That's a rock-solid group, but it leaves guys like Courtney Jackson on the outside looking in. And this is where special teams becomes the X factor. Courtney Jackson is returning kicks and punts in practice. If anything were to happen to Mims, he's the next man up. Can the Broncos afford to risk losing their return insurance just to carry an extra tight end or defensive back? That's the dilemma. Speaking of tight ends, 4 of them seem to be sticking: Adam Troutman, Lucas Krull, Nate Atkins, and Caleb Lohner. But Lohner's situation is far from secure. Despite having solid potential, those pre-snap penalties in preseason games have raised eyebrows. The question isn't whether he's talented, it's whether he's ready. And with teams like the Patriots and Colts reportedly monitoring Lohner's status, Denver might have to make a quick decision. Keep him on the 53 or risk losing him by trying to slide him onto the practice squad. Let's also talk about quarterback depth. Bo Nix and Jarrett Stidham are locked in. But Sam Ehlinger? That's a wild card. He's had a quietly impressive camp, and if he balls out in New Orleans, there's a non-zero chance the Broncos try to flip him for draft capital. We've seen the league scramble for competent backups before. All it takes is one injury to a starting QB elsewhere and suddenly Ehlinger is a hot commodity. Still, Payton likely wants to keep just 2 QBs on the active roster. Carrying 3 means sacrificing talent elsewhere, and that's a price we might not be willing to pay. What makes all of this even more fascinating is that Sean Payton's influence is being felt in every corner of this team. From how he micromanages the dome environment to simulate New Orleans game conditions, to how he snatched the play-calling reins back from Davis Webb, it's all part of a larger statement. This is his team, his vision, his roadmap to a Super Bowl. There's no drama, no dysfunction, just competition. Even the beat reporters looking to stir controversy, like suggesting Nick Benito was staging a hold-in, got shut down when Benito suited up and practiced all week. That's the culture Sean Payton is building here. All business, all focus, and when the NFL announced it would tighten its grip on unsportsmanlike conduct, Broncos fans everywhere quietly celebrated. Because this isn't a team that's going to beat itself with dumb penalties. This is a team being forged in discipline and details. And here's the thing, those details matter. Whether it's prepping for dome noise in an indoor facility or scripting practice reps to simulate game conditions, this team is laser focused. And with this being the final tune-up before the season starts, all eyes will be on who gets that final showcase. Who steps up? Who becomes trade bait? Who forces the Broncos to make a tough call? As we look ahead to this final preseason showdown, it's more than just another game, it's the last audition. For some, it's the start of a promising career. For others,